on Newsbeat, a deputy in Livingston Parish is fired and arrested.
Former LSU professor has legal action pending against the university is speaking out about how she says her right to free speech was violated.
And things are changing from the ground up, which will tell you which building is getting a facelift.
All of this and more, Tiger TV Newsbeat starts right now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Newsbeat. I'm Mitch Rabelais.
And I'm Michaela Martin. Thanks for joining us. A Livingston Parish deputy was arrested and fired today after an inmate filed a complaint about excessive force. An investigation was launched into the actions of 35-year-old Deputy Carlene Legule, a corporal at the Livingston Parish Detention Center. Video evidence showed Legule forcing a handcuffed inmate up against a wall, causing the inmate's head to hit the wall. Legule was released from the Livingston Parish Detention Center after posting her $35,000 bond.
A New Orleans area police officer is in critical condition tonight after being shot 5 times yesterday in the city's lower 9th Ward. 35-year-old Deputy Stephen Arnold, a 12-year veteran of the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, was shot once in the neck and 4 times in the body. Arnold was working with a federal task force serving warrants for drug-related charges when he was shot. Arnold was taken to University Medical Center in New Orleans. At one point, Arnold did stop breathing, but he has since stabilized. The alleged shooter was taken into custody. Authorities say the shooter will face unspecified federal charges in court. A new bill introduced to the Louisiana House would make it legal to carry a concealed weapon with or without a license. East Baton Rouge Representative Barry Ivey co-sponsored the bill with Bossier Parish Representative Dodie Horton. Representative Horton does not believe the bill would do any harm due to the criminal element would be there without House Bill 4. Non-felon Louisiana residents can already carry an open weapon in certain places. House Bill 4 would allow any non-felon Louisiana resident to carry a concealed weapon without a permit, eliminating the need for gun safety courses and training. Since the bill would be a constitutional amendment, the decision would ultimately be left to the Louisiana voters this fall.
A 4-story commercial building in New Orleans is in danger of collapsing after a fire engulfed the structure early this morning. The building, located on Canal Street between Rampart and Burgundy, caught fire around 3:30 in the morning. The fire was burning primarily on the upper floors of the building before spreading to an adjacent building. A spokesperson with the New Orleans Fire Department says they believe they know the cause but are not commenting on it right now. A New Orleans firefighter sustained a burn on his hand, but no other injuries have been reported. LSU is facing a civil rights lawsuit. A former professor is suing the university after being fired last year. Tiger TV's Brett Hauser has the story.
Former LSU education professor Teresa Buchanan filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the university for violating her free speech and due process rights by firing her last June.
That's why we're doing this, not to harm LSU, not to hurt, but to help LSU and protect LSU and restore LSU, because forever LSU.
That selfie though.
Use of profanity and sexual language, which violates LSU's policies prohibiting sexual harassment. But Buchanan, who was supported by the Foundation of Individual Rights in Education, commented on Facebook that she believes the legal actions are necessary. Buchanan wrote, "It's the right thing to do. I'm profoundly grateful for the dedicated people at the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education because I literally could not do it without their support." An LSU spokesman said, quote, "We are confident that our action regarding Ms. Buchanan was appropriate. We take our responsibility to protect our students from abusive behavior very seriously, and we will vigorously protect each student's rights to a harassment-free educational environment." One of Buchanan's former students, who wishes to remain anonymous, said, quote, "She's a great professor, but I can see how some of her comments could be taken the wrong way." Buchanan tried to explain to LSU administrators in a letter that she occasionally used humor and sexual language as role-playing exercises to help future teachers before the lawsuit. For Tiger TV, I'm Brett Hauser.
The Foundation for Individual Rights in Education is sponsoring Buchanan's lawsuit. This will be the 11th lawsuit sponsored by the Foundation as a part of their Stand Up for Speech litigation project.
A district court judge struck down a mandate which would allow doctors who perform abortions admitting privileges at hospitals within 30 miles of their clinics. In addition, the mandate would have closed 4 of Louisiana's 5 abortion clinics. Judge John Gravels blocked the mandate, saying it was a violation of women's constitutional rights. Mandate supporters say it would help protect women in the event of complications, while opponents argue that it would make it almost impossible for women to get abortions. Governor Edwards released a statement saying the Attorney General would take on the case and appeal the federal judge's ruling. At this point, DeGravel's decision is only temporary, but he plans to meet with attorneys on Friday in an effort to make the injunction permanent.
When we come back, we take a closer look at some renovations 64 years in the making.
We'll show you what we're talking about on the other side. In 1952, the Middleton Library was built after a legislative showdown with Tiger Stadium over some funding. 64 years later, Tiger Stadium's seen many expansions, but the Middleton Library is still stuck in the 50s. Reporter Nadine Abusada has that story.
Middleton Library was built in 1958, but is now slowly collapsing from the inside out.
When I hear Middleton, I think of a flu waiting to happen. Like I always get like a little itchy whenever I'm in here.
It smells like mildew, but I really like it. It's endearing.
Robert Mann recently shed light on the matter in the article Sinking Flagship, a new look at LSU's Middleton, where he compares Middleton Library to the Cox Communication Academic Center for Athletes.
My motive was to show people the condition of the library. This is the one building on campus that is sort of the common area for everybody.
The Cox Communications Center was built to help student athletes achieve their academic goals with money that donors and supporters of LSU athletics gave, while Middleton, on the other hand, is doing what they can to keep the library from crumbling to pieces, with holes in the floors, covers on the bookshelves because of drainage issues, and the ceiling falling apart.
The athletic department is entirely separate from LSU as a university, and they get their own money. They have their own donors. So we don't have a sense of resentment about the athletic department. We love them, but we also want the academic spaces at LSU to be equally wonderful, and that's what we're talking about.
LSU can't fix everything in one day, but there are plans for the future with a newfound money called Student Excellence Fee that will go to the library.
What are we going to do with the students that we've got now? So we're going to take the Student Excellence Fee money and first of all, create a modern, beautiful, comfortable, quiet study space on the first floor, a huge one, and that will be beautiful.
The renovations that Mr. Wilders speaks about are said to be done by next fall. It's not a new library, but it is a step forward. This is Nadine Abasada from Tiger TV.
Many members of library faculty say that many pieces of furniture still in use today came from the construction in 1952.
A $65 million budget cut has been proposed for LSU. But what does that mean for students? According to LSU President F. King Alexander's plan, student fees would increase by nearly $700. Nearly 275 courses would be affected and staff layoffs. Specifically in the ag department, classes and research facilities would be canceled and closed. LSU student Carrie Anderson says the higher cost alone will cause problems for students.
Be really detrimental, not only to me, but to other students trying to go to school. I mean, it would almost be to where I would have to get another job, which would take time away from my education. Fees are already high enough to pay for books and materials for each.
Governor Edwards has called a special legislative session in order to deal with the state's budget crisis. While funding for higher education is not at the top of the docket, it will be one of the many items up for debate when the session convenes on February 14th. We'll keep you informed throughout the entire legislative session.
After the break, a puppy accidentally ran a half marathon and he got a medal.
We'll show you the extraordinary story right after the break. A dog's bathroom break turns into her big break as she unknowingly finishes a half marathon. On January 16th, Ludovine, the bloodhound, turned up at the starting line of the Elkmont Half Marathon in Alabama. The dog trotted along with the runners for the entire 13.1 miles. She completed without a human or a leash, and she finished in 7th place.
Her owner, who is not even a runner, didn't even know about her celebrity dog until a friend called and filled her in. Ludovine was presented with a finisher's medal for her accomplishment. She then went home and took a long nap.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, but you can always stay on our website at tigertv.tv and follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
On behalf of me and Mitch, everyone, have a good night and thanks for watching.